All right, everyone. Welcome to CYC's Internship Info Night. My name is Mark Creekmore, and I have the privilege of overseeing the internship program. My role is Leadership Development Coordinator, which means I oversee all of our volunteer leaders. I run our leadership programs like LIT and the internship, obviously, and Equip Camp, and also make sure that our volunteer leaders are trained and equipped to serve on camp. Because we are recording the event and the nature of the content, you're going to be hearing me talk a lot tonight. But if you're here or watching the recording, you came for the information, so it is what it is. So let's hop into it. So, what is the internship about? Thank you for asking. First, it is a year of purpose. People have been doing what we call gap years for a really long time. In ancient times, in Eastern cultures, they called them pilgrimages, where there is this significant amount of time devoted to searching for our identity, where we fit in the world. I actually did my gap year or pilgrimage a bit backwards. I went to school and got a degree right out of high school in marketing, and I realized I did not want to do that after I graduated, which was like a bit of a bummer because I wasted a lot of money and time. So I took a year off at 24 and volunteered with a mission organization in Australia. And I found my calling into ministry. I met my wife during the gap year. Not saying that you're going to meet your spouse, but hey, it could happen. A year with us at the internship will grow you, it will stretch you, and develop your character and your relationship with Jesus. It really is just a year of intentionality, but also slow intentionality, one that's really rooted in building up your character and helping you find your identity and what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And so that leads me to the second point. It's a year of growth. You'll grow in your faith through studying with AlphaCrucis. I'm excited about this partnership, and we'll share a bit more about that later. But again, I want to hit on this idea of pilgrimage. Like I said, all throughout history, people have taken those pilgrimage journeys that are set apart to grow and to seek God. In the Bible, you have Israel. They would travel to Jerusalem for festivals. Early Christians would walk for days and weeks even just to spend time reflecting and getting perspective. A pilgrimage wasn't a holiday; it was about becoming kind of who you are. And that's the same for for the internship. It has the same idea at the core. It's a year that's set apart. It's a bit like a modern day pilgrimage. You step out of the normal routine and give God room for you to grow, to challenge you, and to shape who you're becoming. When we jump straight into vocation or this sense of calling, we often skip over those really pivotal moments of shaping that happen during a year like this, a year that can prepare you for the next season of life. And so that's kind of the third thing that the internship is about. It's a year of preparation. It's the best and worst parts of the program because it doesn't last forever. And I often joke with the current interns that they'll be back next year and they can just do the internship full time. They can get a doctorate in the internship. We joke about it, but we know that it's not true. We want this season to last because it's a season of discovery and growth, but we can't stay because God's preparing you for a life of ministry, whether that be in a vocational sense or in a secular like marketplace job. We've had previous interns working overseas doing mission work. Some have joined staff with us. Some have gone to work doing a trade or in the marketplace, and some in ministry positions in the city and the eastern suburbs. But the goal is not to keep you, but to send you out equipped and ready to serve. So, what does it look like practically? Uh, First is the intern development day. So this is one day a week. I mean, you have other internship programs, especially in camping ministry, where you're serving on site. Because our organization is unique in that our ministries department isn't actually on a site. We're in an office in Ringwood on the in the eastern suburbs, and we will go and visit sites, but it is less of a commitment than most of the other internships out there where you're living and doing life on camp. Here, this is a 3-day commitment, which includes 1 day at the office and 2 days at school with AlphaCrucis. But the day that you're in the office, which is Thursdays, um, in the mornings you get a chance to read through the Bible with the internship group and myself, where and then we'll do some teaching and a learning side to talk through some leadership scenarios, and that happens in the morning. And then each intern will be shadowing a director in the afternoons, where they'll work on their ministry, preparing for camps. Maybe you get partnered up with Jacob Medina, and you are his intern for Forest Edge or at 360. Whatever intersects with your interests and your passion, you'll not only have the opportunity for input in that ministry area, but also a mentor-coach relationship from that staff member. You might have the opportunity to plan a program for a holiday camp or serve in a key team role. There's heaps of possibilities to help shape camps and to learn heaps from different staff members. And so that's from a lot of the historically, that's one of the best parts of the program, is being able to shadow the directors and have influence in the camp space and the ministry. You also get to work alongside a staff member, which I talked a bit on. And then there's obviously, it wouldn't be a CYC internship without involvement on camps. And so we require 2 camps that you serve, including equip camps, so 3 in total. I know that actually doesn't sound like a lot because most of our leaders are serving on, you know, at least 1 a season, some 2 a season. But we want to be sensitive to our interns, particularly when it comes to the study element, because that is can be time consuming, and rest is really important as well. And so the minimum requirement is 3, 2 holiday camps or family camps, depending on what your interest is in, and then 1 that will be with Equip camp in August. And then third, which is probably the highlight, in my opinion, of the internship, is the ministry immersion trip. So this past year was the first year that we did this. And so we will be providing an experience to go overseas, which will likely be back to New Zealand, where we served on a camp during the spring holidays called Totra Springs. And what's cool about this is you won't have to pay for this trip, as it will be provided by CYC, because we know the value of serving cross-culturally. It will stretch you, and your group will go really close together through that shared experience of being overseas. And I know in New Zealand, right, like, oh, that's not much of a cross-cultural environment. But it actually is, because of the heavy influence of the Maori people on camp that we serve at Totra. So this is, for most of the interns and for myself, one of the highlights of the year, because of the relational currency that happens during that time, and how much you're stretched and grow, is definitely a highlight. So next is the studying with AlphaCrucis. I'm really excited about our new partnership with AlphaCrucis University College. It's one of the oldest and largest Christian universities in Australia. While it's fairly new to Melbourne CBD, it's rich in history and has quality professors that makes me honestly envious that I don't get to do the study with you guys. You'll be attending classes in person in the CBD. It's actually right across the street from Queen Victoria Markets, with around 50 or so other young adults that will be studying alongside you, that aren't affiliated with CYC. But not only we have a close-knit community with us at CYC, but you'll also build that at AlphaCrucis as well. And so what are the options in study? So normally in the past, we've only offered the option to do a diploma. which is 8 units of full-time study. Um, which if you're not academically inclined, that can be challenging. It's for 4 units a semester, and it is a lot of information to digest and heaps of assessments to do because it's tertiary level. It's not vet level. It's tertiary, so it can be a bit challenging. So this year we're going to actually offer the option to do an undergrad certificate in ministry, which is only 4 units, so half of that split up over the year. So I'm really excited that we have options because if you're doing the internship and you're not necessarily doing it for the study aspect, this is a way to still get that input from a really high quality university, but not with the intense stresses of having to worry about whether or not you're going to succeed in the classroom. So uh, I'm really excited. You'll be a CYC intern, but you'll also be a student with AlphaCrucis. So you'll have access to their library, online and in person. You'll have study help. They have an amazing team who love CYC. The director actually has been on CYC camps and who are devoted to help you throughout the year. As for the classes you'll be taking, in the diploma, you'll have Old Testament Foundations class, Faith and Purpose, Introduction to Pastoral Ministry, New Testament Foundations, Intro to Theology, Character Formation, and Christian Spirituality, which that class is the core of the program that runs for the full year. And so it's basically just a Christian formation class. And then finally, a preaching class, which is like a public speaking, but you'll learn how to deliver a sermon. For the undergrad certificate, you'll take the core classes, which would be Old Testament, New Testament, character formation, and then depending on what your interests are, you could pick what the last class would be. So you could be pretty flexible. So what does the commitment look like? It's 2 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday. And so as a whole for the internship, it's 3 days commitment. Tuesday you go in for class, Wednesday you go in for class, and then Thursday you are in the office with us on top of serving on camp, and then the ministry immersion trip, which will be during the holidays in the spring. And so, but it is a diploma, and in the undergrad cert, it's tertiary education. So that means it's well, the diploma is a full-time study load, but both you'll have access to fee help and to scholarships as well. And so if you're interested, I can link you in with the department there at AlphaCrucis, and if you have any more questions on the academic side, they'd be happy to answer some of those questions. But also, and this is really unique, you have opportunities to use for credit. So if you wanted to continue further study in a Bachelor of Theology, a Bachelor of Ministry, you can do it. Or if you decide to do the undergrad cert, you can finish it at the next year if you wanted to continue studying and get the diploma. And if you do the diploma, that qualifies you theologically to be a minister in any church in the Australian Christian churches movement. And so essentially you could be an ordained minister with this diploma in the ACC, which is pretty cool and unique. All right, so I'm going to take a breath. That is essentially the internship program. And so now in terms of next steps, if you're interested, we have a prospectus on our website. If you just Google search CYC Ministries internship, that will pop up, and there's a link that you can download the prospectus that has all the information that I've just gone over, and links for you to go and check out AlphaCrucis. So first step, download the prospectus. If you are interested in doing the internship, I would encourage you to pray about it and fill out an application. And that's located on the website where you find the prospectus. And then after the application, you'll come in for an interview to the office, and we'll have a chat, see if you'll be a good fit, and then finally you complete the AlphaCrucis application. Um, um, Lastly, I would just really like to encourage, I know this is a busy time of year for many people. And I'd like to encourage you, if you haven't thought about doing other internships or other opportunities, I really would encourage you to look at other options and explore. If you're like, okay, I want to do the CYC internship, that's great. I would really encourage you to, if you haven't looked at anything else, go and look at other things, weigh your options, and be prayerful in making sure that this is where God is calling you to. We would love to have you. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me, Mark Creekmore. You can just message leadership at cycministries.org.au, and I can answer any questions you might have. So thank you for your attention and look forward to hearing back from you.